Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. Here we have a mixed bunch this month with the February 2021 Humble Choice selection. Some of these I really like, and some of these I was almost immediately bored with. Most of that's on me though. I just don't have the time for what feels like a steep learning curve. Any game that needs a lot of time before it starts becoming enjoyable is a no from me. I really can't be spending 2 or 3 hours learning mechanics. So grumpy old man aside, let's get into it. Outward looks like a game from the 90s with HD textures, even though it's from 2019.
Once you can make the payment, come see me. Remember, you only have a few days. May your ancestors watch.
After a few minutes playing it, it just felt like a dull homage to games like Skyrim, but with all the fun parts removed. It doesn't really look like it's a 24 gig install either. I did enjoy seeing what the game looked like in potato graphics quality though. It's not a massive difference. You also have a bunch of invisible barriers so you can't even get bored and throw yourself off a cliff or accidentally kill an NPC.
Inn is always a good place to try.
Imperial hostiles. Let's stop their advance. Squad E, move out!
I'm always surprised that Sega JRPGs are 35 gig or more. They always feel like they should be about 8.
Just say the word, boss. I'm locked, loaded, and in-freaking-vincible.
This game is rated very highly, but for me, they just took all of the things that bored me about JRPGs and added a tactical turn-based system to punish me further. It looks great, but it really isn't for me.
I can't break through this.
And the edgy dialogue doesn't really draw me in either. Yawn. The plot of Endless Space 2 seems to be one of space xenophobia. I started the tutorial, but it got pretty complicated very quickly. I spent about 10 minutes trying to find the construction pane, as I was getting warned that I had no construction going on between turns, but I basically failed to locate it. This will likely sit on my backlog for a year or two because it feels like it'll take a few hours just to get to grips with the basic gameplay. It looks beautiful though, and if you like strategies, this could be your bag. In Moving Out, you get to play a house mover smashing his way through people's lives in order to fill a van as quickly as possible. This game is quite fun for short bursts, especially as some of the objects are pretty tricky to get out of the house. And occasionally there are things like pet turtles ready to get in your way. Get your stuff on the truck in the quickest time for maximum points and unlockables. Surprisingly enjoyable.
He decided a trip to the mail.
The Trine series has always reminded me of the classic Lost Vikings games, but with 3 decades of improvement added on top. In this game, you get to play Amadeus the Wizard, who can move objects and conjure blocks with magic.
It's a haunted old man.
Pontius the Knight, who can attack things with his sword, use his weight to jump onto objects, or use a shield to block or deflect attacks, or light beams. And Zoya the Thief, who can fire arrows, create rope ladders, and swing around hard-to-reach areas. You get to switch between the 3, combining their skills to solve puzzles and progress through the fairly linear map. I loved the first 2 of these games, but I can't remember finishing the 3rd. In fact, I don't even recall enjoying it as much as the first 2. This 4th game, however, is very enjoyable so far, and I'll most likely be playing this all the way through.
smoke's not right, is it?
The Wild 8 is a survival RPG adventure where you and up to 8 players work together to survive after a plane crash in a procedurally generated wilderness. The game looks nice and has great audio, but could use better controls. Pressing X, then down, then A for the map, for example, is somewhat annoying, as is the equipment system, which is fairly clunky. This could be enjoyable for fans of games like Don't Starve or top-down adventure fans in general. I'll probably give this a few more spins later this month to see what else it has to offer. Train station renovation should be called Boredom Simulator. Your job is to clean up and repair an old train station. This game is so boring that I'd rather go and fix up public spaces in the real world than play this game. In fact, if there's anywhere local that I could do this, I might volunteer. Truly an exercise in making gaming as little fun as humanly possible. Maybe the intention was for this to be a VR title, so they just didn't bother trying making it interesting at all. I don't know. Valfaris is excellent. It's like a gory and midnight resistance with an excellent soundtrack. I really enjoyed this game. The only problem I had at first is not paying attention to the new controls being introduced. Still have no idea how I caught that rocket and fired it back. This is one of the best games this month and it's a lot of fun. It's got an 8-bit style that I love. It's very reminiscent of games that I used to play in the early 90s. And the soundtrack and the gore are just the cherry on top, really. I don't think I understand why ebooks need turning into terrible games. The annoying point here is possibly the slow text speed, although clicking through speeds the text along. The downside is you more often than not trigger decision points in the story. Someone must like this, but I absolutely hated this. It's just everything about it is boring and annoying, and I can't see what possible value this could have to a pack of games other than rounding the number up to 12. Just awful. Lovecraft's Untold stories. At first I thought this was going to be a Stories Untold sequel, but sadly not. It's a great pixel art style, dungeon crawler-esque game. You get to work your way through areas balancing losing health and sanity against the quest for loot. The gameplay is arcadey and the sounds are really creepy. There's loads of loot and you get to face off against cultists and monsters with a shotgun. To be honest, I love it. I can see myself putting a lot more time into this game over the coming months. Recording voiceovers for videos is making me paranoid that I have some kind of speech impediment. Maybe I've had a stroke and I just didn't realise.
I no longer feel fear, but I know I am here to face my demons.
From the intro I thought Iris and the Giant would be some kind of platformer game, but it turns out it's just a card battle game. I know a few folk are into these, but I don't know why card games suddenly got so popular. I played this once and got absolutely no fun out of it and promptly uninstalled it. If you like card games and this kind of art style, which is very nice, then this could be a good game for you, but for me it was just dull. Lastly this month we have Boomerang Fu. I can see this game being a lot of fun in multiplayer. I did a few rounds with a bot and it was really enjoyable, with many ways to kill your opponents. If you add a few human players and a few more bots, I could see it being a totally manic, fun party game. It makes me wonder if it's actually available on the Switch. So that's it for the month. My picks are Trine 4, Lovecraft's Untold Stories, and Valfaris, with an honourable mention to the Wild 8. If you already have Trine, you might consider getting the others on Switch or another platform. The rest of the games just aren't for me and won't be getting played. Your mileage may vary. We're all very different gamers, and what some people like, others obviously hate. Thanks for watching. If you like me hating games that I'm too lazy to play, feel free to like and subscribe. If not, feel free to tell me why I'm wrong. Thanks, and see you on the next one.